Well, Broncos country, the first L is always the hardest of the year. And like most things in life, you need to go through the hard times to appreciate the good. Well, today I declare on August 20th that this be the last game day we ever have to experience this sinking of a pit feeling that is this massive of a blowout to these proportions. Today was a dose of humanity, or humility rather. Ha! But if you trust me, and I know you do, the good times are coming. The good times are coming. And with that being said, turn that frown upside down, Broncos country. Let's ride! Welcome to the Buck Your Feelings Broncos podcast. I am Jay Weaver, your host on this roller coaster of emotions of the NFL season in which we are in. And this over to my, I guess it'd be my right? Yeah, right here would be the man, the myth, the legend, the counterpart, Isaiah Henderson.
What up, Jay? What up? Sorry,
how are you there, sir?
It's going to be an interesting podcast. The way the time ended, I'm in the middle of work, ordered lunch/dinner, and we're just going to see how this goes. So glad to be here, but I wouldn't miss it for the world.
No, I appreciate that. This is kind of a day of just take a deep breath and go about your business. It was a noon. It would be a noon central kickoff, early morning. On a nice, crisp Saturday that I don't know about you. I had great weather. There was plenty to do today, but we sat down and we watched the boys and we watched the team that, we all love. And it was not fun. So obviously we're here to react to the 42-15 beatdown that was today versus the Buffalo Bills. But, I just want to start the show by just saying, thank you everybody for showing up here. Post game, this isn't a fun environment, obviously, to be in, but you know what? This is what we're going to do all season long. We're going to come here after games. We're going to reflect. We're going to, I said in the description, kind of have a mini therapy session. We need to express ourselves of why, at least I am, so pissed about some things today. Some things kind of made me happy, glass half full, but definitely kind of a dark day. So thank you all for being here. Please don't forget to check out our other shows, the Get Bucked pregame show, which is every single game day morning at 11 a.m. Central Time. What would it be? Noon Eastern. So 12, 11, 10, 9, that whole ladder. As well as the original Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast on Thursday nights, 7, 6, 5, 4, with myself and Johnny Baki, my cousin. So hopefully you guys join us for that on Thursday nights. Also, we're going to be debuting a brand new snippet show. Little digestible amounts, maybe like 2-3 times a week. It's going to be called The Smash, where we kind of give you daily tidbits. So that is coming. Also, last but not least, please check out in the description of this video, we've got a merch store which has boatloads of cool stuff. I mean, to be able to put our podcast on a mug and just walk around the world, I mean, it's just really cool. It's really cool. So a lot of cool stuff, t-shirts, very high quality t-shirts in there as well. So go check that stuff out. It's really good. Also, while you're in that description, please go to all of our social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe, get it out there. The bandwagon, I don't think lost anyone today with as bad a performance as this is. But at the end of the day, I truly feel here, and I said it in the intro, we're going to get back to the good times. The good times will roll. The bandwagon will get bigger. So share this out to the country. Share this out to, Broncos everywhere, every, nook and cranny of the world. So, with that being said, Buffalo Bills.
That was a hell of an intro there, Jay.
Thanks, sir. Well, how are you? Like, what's your temperament here? I know you're going to get food. You're a little hungry, but I mean, I was hungry for some better football. We didn't get it. What say you? Speaking of hungry, it didn't seem like the guys that listed defense. It just didn't seem like they were hungry. No.
I understand it's the preseason, but I want to see some fire. And we didn't see that. And I was kind of disappointed in that because, big defense guy, as we said in the pregame show, is I want to see that secondary come out and be hungry. I want to see some fight. I don't care who it is you're going up against. And, truth be told, they look scared. They look like they weren't ready to play. They were expecting to lose. And it was just disappointing.
No, it very much was. It very much was. It was, I had a lot of hype for this morning. It was kind of nice to wake up first thing this morning and kind of get that game day feel. I said it on the podcast on Thursday, but today kind of felt like a college game day, like a college football game day. Wake up on a Saturday morning, you maybe have that mimosa, screwdriver, whatever you're doing, Bloody Mary for a early day drink. Get to football, but we lay an egg. So I guess so be it today. But I don't know. It could have went a heck of a lot better. That's true.
Hey Johnny, Jay, I think that's a new name, Robert Myrick. Facebook, welcome. Cheers to you. Always cheers. Welcome to the Nothing Rhymes crew.
Very much so.
D-Rock,
we got Shadow Jack as well in here. The D-Rock. Absolutely. And then, we got this guy as well, Johnny Baki, obviously the third leg of the tripod here. But I love this. I don't know if you any Letterkenny fans out there. We try and keep the cursing to a minimal on these. But my God, that hockey coach in Letterkenny. I hope Hackett transforms into him post game. It'll be interesting to see the temperament of the post game that he gives. I'm sure it's not going to be rosy like it was for the very first preseason game.
Mhm.
But just
Well, one thing that was said was interesting that I saw on Twitter, which is interesting, which goes toward Hackett and his choice of coaching was the defense struggled today with tackling.
mhm.
Michael Ojemudia struggled. Our linebackers on a couple of plays looks like our linebackers were just diving in. They weren't breaking down their feet with the intention to tackle; they were just diving in for a hit. And they brought up, well, what if this is because we don't tackle as much in practice? I'm curious if what you guys think about that. Is that something that we're going to have to change in practice, maybe hit a little bit more so that way come game time, you're not just flailing around like you do in practice, but actually tackling?
Yeah, no, that's unfortunately the dark-seated back side of today. In my 2 cents and my guess, I guess just overall feel is I don't know. The first game was great and everything, but this game brought me right back down to reality from a depth perspective.
Yes.
I'm not as cocky now about, say, our third string guard tackle, or just the depth in any position really today, all over the board today. It was not one specific place to start. It was just all of the above. And I don't know, but Dave Glassman in the house as well. Wanted to hit him up. Thank you very much for being on the ride with us today, Dave. So thank you very much. Got Shadow Jack in here. Sup with the edge rusher? Hardly no pressure. Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple Nick Bonito and Baron Browning pressures. But I think in totality, basically to caveat of what you said, or to add on to what you just said, Jay, was that there's some individual standouts. Maybe there's some pieces here and there that they play. Like Matt Henningsen has really shown up and really made some good plays. But as a unit together, it was people confused. They're like, oh, it's just preseason. People are freaking out. This unit together won't be on the field. I'm like, yes, that's true. But the thought process is, regardless of whether it's a unit or an individual, I don't think we should have been pushed around. Me personally, I don't think we should have been pushed around like that. I think a total between all three quarterbacks, I think they had a total of 3 or 4 incompletions the entire game.
Yep.
So there's no pressure, no incompletions.
Yep.
I think they had a huge breakout run plays. I mean, even as a unit level, maybe the 2s and 3s, but on an individual level, where's your heart at? I mean, that's what the coaches are looking for.
Yep. No, 100%. So the first game, I would say it would be pretty easy to have the consensus that the biggest weak point in, the parade that was the first, we couldn't run the ball. Our rush offense was horrible. And at that time, I correlated the softness of practice scheduling and conditioning and just the manner in which we're setting things up to, hey, that's probably the first affected place on a team that you're going to feel that is in the running game, because you got to grind in the trenches to run the ball efficiently, even in zone blocking, which is a lot of athleticism, not necessarily power. But today, I mean, you saw the full spectrum of, and it's a horrible choice of words, I don't want to use it, but softness of, wow, that was one facet in the beginning of the game, first game that we saw, and just one little, it's a little black eye. Like everything else looks great, but just this little thing worries me. Well, that one little thing blew up today, and it affected everything. So there's got to be criticism to that. There has to be.
Mike Boone. I mean, he went out there and he made a highlight spin move where 2 dudes ran into each other. The run game seemed like it was doing something the first drive, but it seemed like after the first drive, the offensive line just gave up. I don't know. It seemed like on that first drive with Josh Johnson, it seems like they were starting to grasp the outside zone scheme. And watching the Green Bay preseason game yesterday, I was able to actually see what Hackett is trying to implement in the outside zone scheme. And with that outside zone scheme, it's athletic offensive linemen moving east to west. The running back uses vision, and there's a lot of cutback lanes. And I noticed today with the offensive line, which is what Shadow Jacker actually said was the offensive line did pretty good today, was it's because the defense is confused because the blocking scheme looks the same as running. But for some reason, I don't know if it's, we had Quinn Miners and Calvin Anderson, which are 2 potential starters right there. And for some reason, we're not having any success running to the right side of the offensive line if we did however many times we did. So I'm not sure if the offensive line isn't grasping it yet, if they're not understanding what it is they're doing and why they're doing it. But, there's got to, Nathaniel Hackett's got to hopefully, get in some butts this week and get physical. And I understand the health of the players, but I think this close with one more preseason game coming up and the season right around the corner, it's time to get physical.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. It's a tough thing to watch because you don't want to chop it up to effort from an offensive line standpoint, but it just kind of seems like, and Johnny said this earlier in the week, that from watching the game tape of the first game, we ran to the right side pretty much predominantly. Never really touched that left side from, the zone scheme. Like most of our cuts were always to the right side of the line. And we kind of theorized of like, why would they do that? Maybe we see the weakness.
Quinn Miners and Calvin Anderson, strength to strengthen them up.
Exactly.
Last year with Dalton Reisner and Garrett Bowles, the left side of the offensive line was the most successful part of the offensive line.
Yeah,
so
we're good.
They understand.
We know what we have.
Hey, and those two have also been in the scheme before. Quinn Miners and Calvin Anderson have not. So they have to pick up on it. And also a possibility is maybe it's the third string, fourth string running backs don't understand the scheme either. Maybe they're still learning that as well. So maybe they're supposed to take certain cuts when they're not. Maybe they're not supposed to take certain cuts when they are. Maybe they're missing some holes that are open. They're just not taking them. Therefore, it looks better on the offensive line. But it seems as if they're not. What I'm seeing is that when they're moving, when they're running, they're getting blown back by defensive tackles almost immediately.
Yeah.
Now I understand with the outside zone scheme, somebody that's going to happen. People are going to slip through and stuff like that because that's not the intended area. But there's no reason why. So far, 90% of the run plays we make in the preseason, they're getting tackled for losses.
Yeah. Yep. And this would have been the game. At least how this unfolded. This would have been a Moody game. I would have loved to see the response from someone like Moody coming in. I know he's hurt. I know he wasn't available, but like that's he's the pusher. Like he's done great transitioning into this zone scheme from what I've heard. But like he was a power guy. He's like one of the strongest people on the team. So I would have liked to see if even he could get pushed. I think that would tell us maybe a little bit about like where maybe the positional group is from an effort standpoint, or just conditioning maybe, or just kind of where we're at. Because yeah, you're totally right. We just saw things keep on moving backwards. Definitely not any push, as they say.
And the thing that's really shocked me and surprised me, and what I don't understand, is on the defensive side of the ball. So far, the Cowboys and the Bills both run outside zone scheme run plays. The defense goes against outside zone run schemes in practice all day, every day. I'm not understanding why they're getting blown off the ball. But Telvin Agim was blown off the ball almost every single play.
Yeah.
Alberto stayed in there. McTelvin Agim, some of the guys that could potentially be run with the one unit and their twos are playing against 2 and 3 offensive linemen on the Bills and getting blown off the ball in a scheme they see every day in practice.
All the time. Yeah.
I'm not understanding what's going on there.
I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just so hard to pinpoint because we're in the thick of preseason. It's just hard to, again, just to know, because I guess from a scheming standpoint, like I know they're trying things out. Like preseason in and itself, these games, it's like a workshop. You're literally doing the things you suck at. So that was my theory, at least, as to why he predominantly ran to that right side, why they're play calling a certain style.
100%.
It's not going to be the same week 1 in Seattle. It's not.
No, and my thing is, yes, the ones weren't in there. The ones would be very different. For example, on defense, Draymond Jones, DJ Jones, and Deshaun Williams and Mike Purcell will not get blown off the ball like that.
Yep.
Which I understand. But these guys are going to go in there with the ones, and them not necessarily understanding their assignment or not having that heart or fight in them can make the difference between a good or bad play. Alberto played the whole game. He had a fantastic he couldn't keep his feet in bounds on the Josh Johnson throw to the left on the left side, but he had a fantastic throw from Brett Rippon. Jalen Virgil, our wide receiver depth is fantastic.
Absolutely. I
Our
was going
wide
to say,
receiver depth is fantastic.
we can continue to beat a dead horse of some of the trench things that we saw, the softness maybe of those type of things. And, at the end of the day, we can theorize why that is. But glass half full, some of the good stuff that we saw, Johnny says right below, one of the things that I have on my list of positive things, because as I sat here and I watched the totality of the game, I just wanted to write down some good things, because at the end of the day, we still have half this day. I don't want to chalk the rest of this day up to just being crap. So let's get some positive juices flowing. Special teams, I mean,
Dwayne Stukes is
wow.
One thing I will give Hackett,
Big
I thought
difference.
about this the other day. One thing I will give Hackett for that's really gone underrated is Nathaniel Hackett has brought in 3 coaches who are Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
Dwayne Stukes, the defensive line coach, and Evero. So our defensive coordinator, our special teams coordinator, our defensive line coach, all just came off of a Super Bowl. So they understand what it takes to be Super Bowl caliber, to train and work on a Super Bowl caliber team and win. And so Dwayne Stukes coming in there from assistant to special teams coordinator, I don't know what he's done, what he said, but we're not giving up these huge returns.
Yep.
And we're getting averaging 25 to 35 yards per return.
Yeah. I mean, Montreal, Washington, and it is huge highlights. And I don't mean it in a Sports Center way, but like lowlights compared to highlights of this game. He had multifaceted highlights because he had highlights from his special teams, which, copy and paste, we should expect. That's why he's on the team. That's why he was drafted. That's his niche. That's his skill set. But one of the biggest things that I've seen from him, and, Shadow Jack D-Rock says it right here, he did tremendous in the slot. For the woes of the offense, I thought Washington played really crisp in the middle of the field. A lot of really good slants and such. But I'm at the point now, confidence-wise of him, where I don't necessarily want to see him out on offense anymore in the preseason. I'm done.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm good. I've seen enough.
And I think credit to Dwayne Stukes because Jalen Virgil had a good return, and Mike Boone did too. I mean, that's a guy that for people are saying Brandon Johnson, but me personally, I don't know. I'm picking Jalen Virgil over Brandon Johnson right now. Not saying that either one of them is going to get cut. I think they're both going to make the team. But I like Jalen Virgil for when the ball's been thrown his way, whether it's deep balls, whatever the case may be. He's been there to catch it every single time, and he seems to be targeted more than Brandon Johnson is. So I really like Jalen Virgil. I like his speed.
Yep.
He beat. There was a throw by Brett Rippon. It was fourth down. It was 4th and 2, and he just beat him off the line. And he's fast, and he just beat him. And they're like, Nathaniel Hackett caught up a fantastic play where they were it was a low scissor cross, and a linebacker was in a trail position. Brett Rippon read it. It was designed that way, and Jalen Virgil just being fast, just ran off the line and beat him and had a beautiful catch. He's got nice hands, so I really like this wide receiver depth. I wish they could have got the ball more to Seth Williams, but he had targets. But it is what it is.
Yep. I was going to say, I'm a Seth Williams guy. I've liked him for a long time, but he hasn't really had a lot of flashes. At least today, he didn't do a whole lot. I missed out on the Johnson to Johnson connection. I'm sure it was already typed up Broncos social media like you called out. I'm sure it was ready to go. It's in the drafts. But you know what? Maybe they can deploy that next preseason game in against the Vikings. So there's still hope for that. But Shadow Jacker also makes a really good point on Quinn. So he made some really good plays, great plays, but he also fumbled. He also coughed the ball up on the return he made. That was his probably only low light, but he did play very well. I guess Johnny says, go ahead.
Yeah. He says Kendall Hinton just keeps impressing me as well. One thing that Benjamin Albright mentioned earlier is this connects to this is that they said Josh Johnson really isn't that good. It's just that the receivers were making him look good last week. And today there was a lot of missed throws that Josh Johnson couldn't get in there to Kendall Hinton, to Brandon Johnson, to Seth Williams that, just couldn't. They were open. He just couldn't get there. And, Kendall Hinton, he's definitely wide receiver 4 in my opinion. Me personally, it'd be between Seth Williams and Kendall Hinton. I like Seth Williams' size. He's big, but Kendall Hinton has better hands. And he's emerging as a fantastic possession receiver. And I like him a lot.
Yep. No, I liked him too. Another one more thing from the Washington front that I wanted to point out that I fell in love with is I saw not quite like the classic DT bubble screen up top, but like I saw like a little mini bubble screen that they drew up for Washington, and you saw like, oh my, give that man a little bit of space, and
Yes.
like it's gonna happen. But I'm just so happy to see that that's on their mind. They want to put that forth. Like,
he's fast. I mean, normally KJ Hamler would be the guy, but he's fast and shifty. At this point, no, he's shifty and agile. At this point in time, he's more durable than KJ Hamler.
Yep.
So what the play like that with for KJ Hamler is going to be kind of kind of scary. Do you want to have him making those quick break cuts and trying to go through traffic and getting banged up left and right like a pinball? So yeah, Montreal Washington. I think Jalen Virgil can also be a guy like that because he's just as fast, if not faster. But Dwayne Stoops mentioned this in the press conference. He really likes Montreal Washington's agility, and his confidence is just growing week by week. Week. He's a pros pro.
No, it's true. Another topic I guess I wanted to hit as far as highlights or positive things that I saw. Sam Martin getting hurt, playing catch with Brandon McManus. Are we serious? But what that did is, I mean, we haven't really talked, or at least I haven't paid attention to the punting competition. Why do we have someone in camp that's not Sam Martin? I mean, Sam Martin is a legit veteran punter of the league, right? Like he's legit. But like this, what is it? Corliss Waitman? The couple punts he had, like, were legit. I mean, I don't know. He got an opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's been a punting competition. All of camp. Dwayne Stoops has mentioned it. It's been a punting competition, and Sam Martin getting hurt playing catch just opened the door for Corliss Waitman to play the whole game. And Brandon McManus was also on the money today too.
Yeah, he was. And I mean, aside from maybe the relationship, obviously, that McManus and Martin have playing catch together, little father-son let's throw a catch. But like that might be a vet cut. I could totally see. It's not like this regime really
I actually mentioned that. I've actually mentioned that in the beginning of the season before we're looking at salary cap. I could definitely see that as a vet cut.
Yeah.
And some people have talked about going out and getting some more interior defensive line depth, maybe some more linebacker depth. But just to save money, I could see Sam Martin not making it and having Corliss Waitman make it. But speaking of that, one person that's really impressed me that Nathaniel Hackett mentioned I paid attention to today. I said this before. I've said this 1,000 times. I've caught some heat for it. I've gotten some people that agreed. I've got some people that disagreed. Graham Glasgow looks really good at center.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
He played center at Detroit. And Nathaniel Hackett mentioned this. Lloyd Cushenberry was out for a couple of days. Maybe I think it was a foot or something last week in practice. And Nathaniel Hackett said himself, he said, Graham Glasgow, he said he looks really good at center. I like what he's doing out there. And I was watching him on a couple plays today. He just has command of it. I mean, he obviously doesn't fit in with the twos. You can just tell he's just different. He's an 9-year vet. So, and he looks really good. I mean, he wasn't getting bull rush. They weren't getting flying by him. He was calling out the
it definitely. I will say. Plays. I think I would say the one thing that I think had been brought up before was just the height difference between Graham Glasgow and Russell Wilson. Yes. And so, like, he was being the center for Johnson, who's a normal-looking quarterback, like, from a height perspective.
That is true. Well, Lloyd Cushenberry is 6'3", and Graham Glasgow is 6'6". So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. But for a backup center?
Yeah. And that's why I don't want him to be a vet cut. He is a invaluable vet depth piece that can literally go either guard spots, a center spot, anywhere.
Interesting to see what they do with him because this is last year on his contract. But I think one of the things that may have, they're trying some stuff out. They're putting people around. Luke Wattenberg, who plays center, was playing left guard today.
Interesting. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he wasn't playing center. He was playing left guard today. So they were moving some things around, moving some pieces around. And I think Hackett and the coaches know they're like, hey, we move some pieces around. Maybe these guys don't fit here. But at the same time, they expect you're in the NFL, you're a professional, you're put in this position. I expect you to execute.
Sure.
So that was a part of it. I just don't understand why Calvin Anderson, this was his job to lose, and Billy Turner's coming back. It's going to be interesting to see if Billy Turner plays against the Vikings and if there's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but think Billy Turner came here for Hackett. I mean, I think when they first signed, they were like the two best friends that anybody could have. Like, that's how they kind of vibe right out of the gate. So I just can't believe that it's not going to be Billy Turner when all is said and done. I mean, we still got Cam Fleming technically on the roster, but I think it's Billy Turner's year regardless. I mean, that's going to be it. And this preseason is just to shuffle the depth.
I have no argument against that. You know, Billy Turner, obviously he knows the scheme. I think he only gave up one or two sacks last year in Green Bay. He knows the play call. He knows the coach. He knows the offensive line coordinator. He knows Justin Houghton. He knows the offensive coordinator, the O-line coach. He knows them all. So this isn't new to him. And with Russ like that, I think right tackle being the missing piece, put him in there. I think that may be why Quinn Minor seems to be maybe not picking it up as well. Maybe because him and Calvin Anderson are both learning this new scheme together.
Sure. Maybe
a delay, but you put in a guy like Billy Turner who knows it, who knows what he's looking at, and you put Quinn Miners next to him, and Quinn Miners like, oh, I can just ask this guy and talk to this guy. He already knows it.
Yeah.
And he can lean on him, and I definitely think that'll be a difference maker.
It goes to show, I don't know, just from a small school perspective, you know, I mean, like Quinn Miners was from basically like a community college in Wisconsin. Yeah. So like, I can't imagine what scheme he was running at that school compared to, you know, I mean, well, but seriously, Lloyd Cushenberry is coming from LSU that's running an NFL offense. Like, so from a scheme perspective, I can't imagine he's not farther ahead just because of that aspect. You know,
well, Calvin Anderson was with the Broncos when Rich Scangarello was here, I believe. You guys correct me in the chat and see if I'm right or wrong.
I believe
Calvin Anderson was here.
He was practice squad,
starting.
I think.
Yeah, he was practice squad. He wasn't starting. So now he's starting in a new outside zone scheme that he hasn't ran in years.
Sure.
There's a learning curve. Same thing with I think they recognize that is that there's a learning curve.
Yep.
And I don't think Calvin Anderson is getting it as fast as they want. If Billy Turner's back and healthy, which leads me to the next question from Shadow Jacker. How much time would the starters play in the final game? I'd give them a drive. Maybe, at most a quarter.
Boy, I don't know.
They're going to play. Hackett's not going to bench that. He's not. They will play the last game, though.
So you got to think. You got quite a bit of time in between the Minnesota game and week 1. I think
2
it's
weeks,
like...
I believe.
Yeah, it's a substantial amount of time. So I guess in traditional sense, the third preseason game was always the dress rehearsal, right? Because you always had another preseason game after that that was the shuffle of everybody else. But with the scheduling, I always thought the second preseason, like today, like what Buffalo did, putting all their starters out, was going to be the suit-up game, the second one.
Well, I thought that, but Hackett was like, nah.
Well, but I guess I say the point to me, I don't think the starters are going to play at all, no matter what. Wow. But I think it'd be interesting to see if there's other NFL teams that treat that third one like the actual third one in the past.
Is it in Minnesota?
You know
or
what I mean?
In Denver.
It's in Denver. If
you're not going to play all of the starters, I'd put Billy Turner out there. I'd put Randy Gregory out there.
Randy Greger's a little different, but yeah, Billy Turner I'd probably put out.
We don't hit much in practice, so I want to see these guys that have been all of training camp, hardly any physical contact. I'm assuming they're gonna be part of the team's period this week. I'm actually pretty sure they'll be a part of the team's period this week. Put them out there for a drive. Let them get hit a little bit. KJ Hamler. No. I agree. No, not yet.
So it's not even necessarily starter for next, because I thought it was a couple of positions are just so bunched together, and I don't think there's as much separation as we really think there is. Like tight ends, for instance, today you had Albert O playing in the fourth quarter of this preseason bowl. Like, I don't think we see him the same as the coaching staff, and I think there's more and more evidence that's being put out there that shows that, and it's. that is because it's a copy and paste feedback from other coaching staffs in the past. It might be a work ethic for him, run blocking, that type of thing. He's had a rough camp when it comes to that stuff.
I think it's run blocking and knowledge of the scheme.
Yeah.
Because as we saw today, when it comes to throwing the ball or catching the ball, this guy could be best in the league.
Yep.
This guy could be best in the league. I mean, he can catch the ball. He's a big dude. He's fast. That's easy. But I think when it's run blocking and the knowledge of the scheme,
yeah,
I think that's the case. And I think Eric Saubert also had that nice red zone touchdown.
Yeah, I love Eric Saubert. But again, when the initial depth chart came out, everybody was up in arms saying, well, why is Saubert like number 3? Like he's been probably the best tight end out there. I mean, Dulcich hasn't really played a whole lot, granted, but like it's close. Now you're right.
Eric Saubert is a better run blocker. Is a much better run blocker than Alberto is, but Alberto is a better receiving tight end.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy because Alberto was a better run blocker than Noah Fant was.
Yeah. Alberto made some plays, and Shadow Jagger is right, but he made some plays in the fourth quarter versus Buffalo's third or fourth stringers. So
maybe I'm thinking maybe their goal was to play all of Alberto because they're not going to play him preseason week 3.
Okay.
That maybe when Greg Dulcich comes back, they may be expecting Greg Dulcich to come back for preseason week 3. So that way Greg Dulcich gets the majority of the reps, and Eric Tomlinson, because Alberto's going to make the team.
Dulcich obviously making the team, and I would say Saubert as well.
Probably put Eric Tomlinson out there and maybe give some Greg Dulcich some reps.
Yep.
And give as many reps as you possibly can to see. But I like to see. I like to see why they played Alberto the whole game. I would like to hear what Nathaniel Hackett says.
Yep.
Because that's very interesting to me.
Very much so. That was a big thing that stuck out to me. When we're talking about rest,
Ojemudia gets cut. I think Michael Ojemudia gets cut.
Yeah, that's a big thing in itself. I mean, that's a topic that I could stand on a soapbox, I guess, for a little bit. We knew that coming in, though. That's the car crash we had scheduled ahead of time. Like, we knew that was happening.
So I mean, I guess Fangio saw something that we all thought Ojemudia was in Fangio's doghouse, and Ojemudia was this up and comer, and the guy. But apparently, Fangio's 2 years ahead of us. It was like, this guy's not it, and he benched him, and it seems like he hasn't recovered since. And Damari Matthews came in, and he didn't make any big plays today, but it seems like he took the rest of Ojemudia's confidence.
Yeah, and you know what? Dave Glassman makes a great point down below here of just keep him off the field and safe, because at the end of the day, these injuries are starting to pile up, even in a depth perspective. I don't remember, but there was another offensive lineman that went down today too. I think it was a guard.
Speaking of injuries, I think Ojemudia has the same injury that Jonas Griffith has. I think it's a disjointed elbow. He messed up his elbow and his arm pretty bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if you're going to play anybody, play starters. You're definitely, I think, defensive starters, not offense. The defense needs to feel to hit, because we saw today not getting that was definitely a lot of arm tackles, a lot of missed tackles. So in my opinion, put some defensive starters out there. I'd put Pat Surtain out there just because he's a second-year guy. I'd put DJ Jones and Randy Gregory because we haven't seen him in a Broncos uniform. We haven't seen him play.
Yep.
You know what?
So
leave the linebackers out. Leave Josie Jewell.
Yeah.
And don't even. Put them in.
it's these positional groups that we're still not done, and we're still on the swing. So we've talked about tight end. That'll be a very interesting position to watch last game. Now that Ojemudia is gone, I think cornerback depth and what happens for the last preseason game is going to be a big thing too. It'll be interesting to see if, I don't know, someone like a PJ Law comes in and tries to play cornerback or tries to go down from a DB perspective, just because at the end of the day, he knows he's going to be on the team. At least I think he's going to be on the team. I don't know.
Put him somewhere just to see how he looks.
Correct. Rather than sign a warm body right now because we're just short of people at a certain positional group. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But the other position that is going to have to be ironed out for the last preseason game that I think we're tied right now, boom. Shadow Jacker hit
about to click it.
Backup quarterback. Brett Rippon, he's back in.
Josh Johnson had a great first game. Brett Rippon went 21 of 26, 22 of 26, 191 yards, a touchdown. I think he had a 111 passer rating. He had a really good game.
Yeah.
He was in there. He was making plays. He was stepping out the pocket. He was, extending plays
Mm-hmm.
like Russell Wilson does, and he looked good out there. So I think it's a dead even heat. I think this time, me personally, I think Rippon's earned the first reps in Minnesota, unless the
Mm-hmm.
starters play. unless the starters play. But if they don't, I think Brett Rippon should get in there and get with the twos, the offense, see how he can command the offense, how he can audible and read the defense, and then see where we can go from there. Because this is it right here, boys. This is it.
This is it. This is it. And you know what? We're almost kind of at a time here. I don't want to belabor this blowout because I just again, like I said, we still got a good portion of this day here, and I don't want these vibes to continue on. Today I kind of felt like that's how I feel. But the trueness, kind of what I said in the intro. Our boy is sitting on the side, and he let everyone out again today, which I'm so happy he did. Happy he did. He's the culture setter. We still got him. All is well. These blowouts, the feeling that we have today is honestly a copy and paste feeling that I've had for the last, 5 years in instances. It's been bad. It's been so bad. But it's over. Like, this is it. Because it's coming, dude.
Yes.
Like, one more game of just fake football, and then,
I don't think we understand. I don't think we truly understand. None of us know because we haven't seen it unless you live in Denver and you've been watching the practice. A part of me is like, oh, no, is our depth this bad or are our ones just really that good? And I don't think we understand how good the ones probably really, really are and how this offense really, really moves. I mean, we saw them beat the crap out of Dallas in the practice and have 3 touchdown drives back to back against the Dallas ones. So it's just, we're excited because we know we had the potential. And then this happens today. We're like, okay, yeah, whatever. I want to see the ones. I want to see him. I want to see it. If today would have been a really good day to play the ones against Josh Allen, and I definitely don't think they would have put up 42 points. Maybe they would have scored 1 or 2 touchdowns, but I think the score would have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
I don't think their backups are that much better than our backups. I just think that we were just completely deflated and discouraged.
Yep.
But yeah, I think me as a fan, I'm just anxious. I need to see it. I just need to see it. Yep. That's where I'm at.
I'd feel way different if this was what we saw last year at the same time. And we didn't know that our first team was like, oh no, like, just wait. Just wait, people. Laugh at us. Go ahead.
Well, this looked like us last few years.
Yep. This looked like old Broncos today.
And that's why a lot of people were like, oh, because we're like, but we were able to be like, wait. These aren't our ones. This is the old us.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Yeah. Wait.
Like,
oh, okay.
Yep.
And so that's a little sigh of relief. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, seriously. It's a world of difference. And that's why, you got to check yourself. You got to have a reality check and just come back and say, you know what? Today I at least saw football. Wasn't great football, but it was football. And, we're going to get football again next week. And then it starts. So I'm so excited, man. Thank you very much for being here with me. I'll wrap the show up here. But yeah, I'm so excited, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Please share this show. I mean, we love talking about the post-game stuff. At least I do. I love I don't know, the feeling that we get to kind of express our feelings and get it out. Because, I don't know, I feel better at the end of this, 45 minutes here? I kind of walked myself off a cliff. So I feel a lot better about where we are, where we're going, and blacking this game out from this point on. So, Isaiah, any final thoughts?
Yes, Dave Glassman comes in with a fantastic comment. He says, my feelings would be bucked if this game mattered at all. 100%. No, just excited. Ready to get to practice this week. I definitely want to hear about intensity. focused and physicality this week. That's what I want to hear. And I think we're going to come back against Minnesota. I think we're going to smack Minnesota in the mouth. I think we're going to be pissed off about the Bills, and we're going to smack Minnesota in the mouth.
I hope. You know what? Because at the end of the day, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the box score of these preseason games. I pay attention to the vibes that you're getting from them, the narrative that you expel from each of these games. So with that being said, let's get some positive vibes going here again. Super excited to be here. Super excited to be here with you guys all season long. So go find us on our platforms, please. Go buy some merch at the merch store, please. And with that, we'll see ya. Adieu.